R100 each. Brings us neatly on to our next topic of discussion, and it is an issue that is very personal. It has impacted a lot of us in the cycling community, and it is a worrying issue. Certainly up here in Gauteng, it's fairly prevalent. It's the hijacking of bikes, and particularly mountain bikes. And in the studio with us are two people who we're going to engage in this topic. Wayne Greaveson on the far left there, and Andre Snyman from eBlockwatch. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Wayne's a cyclist, and you, Wayne, had an incident over the weekend, you and four friends riding. I think, take us through what happened first.
We went out on Saturday morning for our normal mountain bike ride. 5 riders coming out from the 4As area, riding out past Manandi. Climbed a fairly rocky hill up near an area called Hoekplaats, and got to the top, and were approached by a gentleman with a gun who asked us for our bikes and instructed us to lie down in a disused farmhouse just behind the area where we were standing. Tied us up, took the bikes, and at that stage everything was okay. We cooperated with him, and generally we felt that we were going to get out of it all right. Unfortunately, it took a turn where he attempted to assault one of the female members of our group, and luckily we were helped out by the community in that area, who happened to arrive at a very opportune moment. 2 guys on scramblers who disturbed him, and he ran off, and ultimately the community mobilized itself, and all's well that ended well. Yeah. But it wasn't a great experience.
Yeah. How are you, and how are the rest of you?
A little bit shook up. Physically we're okay, a few cuts and bruises, but nothing major. It's more the emotional, sort of mental scars, I guess, that you carry with you now, and the questions you ask around, where do I ride now and who do I ride with? We were 5 people in a group. We've always said, let's not ride on our own, let's ride in a group. But 5 guys faced with one gun, not much you can do.
All right, Wayne, it's a shocking story, and one that, as I said, many of you out there have experienced or are fearful of experiencing at some stage. Now, Andre Snyman's here from eBlockwatch. We've heard the great work that eBlockwatch have done through the Rhino issue, but you also have a network and a system that can help the cyclists as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Now that we saved the Rhino, let's save the cyclists. eBlockwatch is essentially a network of South Africans, and at the moment we're 69,000 strong. And it's very easy catching a criminal if we've got the backing of the community, and we just heard here how the community came to save the day. And eBlockwatch doesn't leave that a chance. We actually mobilize that community, and we have them on network, and this is what we want everybody to do. We want every cyclist to get onto our network, and it's free of charge. And we get you on that network, and we will look after you if you're on that network. We cannot look after you if you're not on that network. So when you get into trouble, you would contact us. We've got a whole box of tricks that we've got there that we can't really talk about too much. But we will create a digital footprint and try and take these guys down. But at the same time, we will get support to you. And people say, how do you get support? Well, we harness the collective clout of every community. And within a network, it's the most amazing thing. When a person goes down or somebody in that community needs assistance, and you mobilize that community, and we've got them, we can mobilize them via SMS. Within minutes, you've got that community running out, even if they were watching rugby like in your situation. They're dying to help, and they just need to know how. And we will tell them how to do it and where to go. And that is where we give you that support. So we need those cyclists there so we can support them.
What do you need to get involved? Do you need a cell phone? Do you need email? What do you need just to get involved?
Well, you first of all have to just go and register on our website, eBlockwatch. Once you've registered there, it will tell you everything about it. And over there, we will reveal more of our box of tricks. We don't want to do it out here because we do know that the syndicates that are involved with bikejackings are in the cycling industry. They have to be, because they have to know the ins and outs.
That's an interesting one. Wayne, you have a little insight into that from your incident as well, don't you?
Yeah, the guy who hijacked us told us that he had a specific point where he had to take the bikes to, because he was one guy and 5 bikes. And he was going to leave them there for someone to come and pick up. So clearly it was well orchestrated. Yes. Also, he said to me, you were here last week, weren't you? And I actually wasn't. I was actually riding the Crater Cruise last week. And he said, you were here. And eventually I said, okay, I was here. But he'd obviously been watching the environment and watching the area, watching cyclists come up. and was targeting specifically mountain bikers in that area, and he looks at us as a soft target.
Tell us a bit more about the community, how they got together and actually caught this criminal eventually.
They were unbelievable, and you know, we after this whole ordeal were walking back fairly shattered, and we started to see buckies and people arriving, and together with the police, these guys were just unbelievable. They mobilized a small army, which we watched from a distance, and watched them work with the police to track down this guy. Ultimately, they did.
Which, in a way, in a nutshell, is exactly, although this wasn't through eBlockwatch, this is exactly the way eBlockwatch sort of operates, in a way.
That is exactly what happens. You know, every community does have this network of security. So for a cyclist to go riding around, like Sabi, for example, let's say, take Sabi. If one of those cyclists got into trouble, we've got a network in Sabi already, and just mobilizing, even if we've only got 100 people there, those 100 people, within a couple of minutes, they receive an SMS and they mobilize their friends. And you've got 1,000 people, and within those 1,000 people, you've got all the network that you need. So we just take that power of that community, put it together, coordinate it, and then run it. And when it's over, we tell them, great, we communicate back. So eBlockwatch is essentially a community communication network.
Give us an idea of, you know, everybody judges a scheme by its past successes. What have you done before, and how did you, mobilize and get some good successful stories? We heard about the Rhino, but what else has happened?
Well, let's go right to where we started with Lee Matthews. Lee Matthews we mobilized 10,000 people on our network originally. We've got 600 journalists on our system, so of course we have little tricks. We let the journalists know where the incident is, and then the journalists take over from there, and you know how communication happens now. And within seconds, you've got communication. With the Lee Matthews, the Sheldon Hemon, that Marty, that criminal that greased himself, came out of C-Max. He actually greased somebody's hand and went out the front door. And we helped the police do tracking of that guy. We've done so many cases. There are too many people with Alzheimer's that go missing. We mobilize that community there, and people come out in their slippers and their dressing gowns, get into a car, and they don't even know each other, and they drive around and they find the guy. So there's a lot of goodwill, and everybody wants to help. You just got to tell them how to do it.
Just give us an illustration of sort of how it works once the word goes out in terms of we have a cyclist hotline, which we will put the number up on the screen. All the members have to do is take down that number, but they have to be registered on eBlockwatch, because if you dial that number and you're not registered on eBlockwatch, that message is going to go into cyberspace. But if you're registered on eBlockwatch, that message will come through to us and will go through to your 4 friends that you mobilize, that you name. And they will find out that you're in trouble. And from there, it creates a ripple effect. And from that, they come back to us, and we will then mobilize that community. So you have to have that connection to eBlockwatch. Without that, that number is going to be useless. Now, having had your experience, this sort of thing, what's your
I'd like to have met Andre last week.
Well, bring your friends. Let's meet now. The most difficult thing is actually getting the guys to do it, because after I hear so many of those stories, if only. Go ahead, just register now, because we cannot help you if you're not on the system.
Cost?
Free. You can go absolutely free. There are a lot of little toys and extras that you can add on, but to be part of the cyclist group, it's free. Go to the website. You will see there's actually a bicycle. You can click on that, and then you become part of the cycling network. So if we've got 20,000 cyclists in trouble, we will first mobilize other fellow cyclists to say we've got a person in trouble. And that, normally cyclists, they like stick together, and they'll get up while they're watching rugby or whatever, and they'll go and support this chap.
How many cyclists do you have in your network at the moment?
Presently, I'm going to lie to you, we've got maybe a couple of hundred. We've been marketing this for a month, and thank you very much for the opportunity to get the cyclists to come out there. And I think it's important that every club out there contacts me. Every club owner contacts me, and we will mobilize their little clubs, and we'll send them emails on how to go about it as well, just make it easier for them. Because once we've got this network of cyclists, I mean, look at the Rhino. We saved it in 2 weeks.
Well,
we can do the same for you guys.
It's fantastic. That's great news, and the great news that you got your bikes back.
Exactly.
There's someone in custody now, and let's hope we reach the end of this. But Dwayne, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for the time. Thanks, Joe.
Happy riding in the future.
Thank you.
And Andre, thanks for coming.
Safe riding.
Safe riding, yes. And 082-236-0015, 083-236-0015. That's the hotline number, but you must register with eBlockwatch. It's for your own safety, for your life, and for your bike. You must do that. Now, you might be training for the Momentum 94.7 Cycle Challenge via the Fit Track method. It's a fantastic method. We exposed it to you a few weeks ago on Supercycling. Let's take a closer look now. Fit Track is a